Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome to another episode of News Dose, where I give you all of the latest news in games. And today's all about BlizzCon 2019 because Blizzard dropped a lot of big news today. I mean, honestly, I think this has been the best BlizzCon to date, and they came off firing on all cylinders. This wasn't another April Fool's joke, that's for sure. So, they announced a few games today, and the first one I'm going to talk about is Overwatch 2 because it's my favorite game of this generation, and I've sank so many hours into this game by this point, I just have to talk about it. Now, earlier this week, there was a lot of leaks on Overwatch 2, and Papa Jeff kind of joked about it and how frustrating it is as a developer to have these types of things happen, which I can definitely understand that, but he did confirm a lot of what we've already been hearing online, and that Overwatch 2 is a thing, and that PvE story is the main component. But let me tell you, the cinematic that they used to reveal Overwatch 2 was superbly done. In all honesty, every Blizzard cinematic was fantastic today, and I know they get a lot of praise for their cinematics, but they could make a full-length movie, and I would watch it. Now, dead serious, I would absolutely watch that. They're just done so well, and while watching the Overwatch 2 cinematic and seeing all the characters that I've been playing for years both in the game and following the lore kind of band together to stop this ginormous enemy had me a little bit emotional. It just seemed like a very powerful scene, and I absolutely loved it. But one thing I do want to point out that they did in the cinematic was how they combined the ultimates and abilities together. We kind of saw it with Reinhardt and Brigitte, where they joined shields together, and then we also saw Mei and Tracer combine their ultimates, and I'm curious to see if this type of thing makes it into Overwatch 2 as a feature. Probably not, and it's probably just referencing the teamwork that the game is so well known for, but something I definitely noticed. Now, they did say that there will be a full-on story this time around, and I think if this trailer is anything to go by, we're in for a treat. Where you battle the evil Omnics in a PvE type game mode, it really does sound interesting. We've actually done this in the past with seasonal events, and I thought it was fun then, but I'm curious how the full story and character missions will play out. And they also said there would be multiple new characters. They only revealed one, which was Sojourn, but they didn't really talk about her or her abilities just yet, and we might hear about that a little bit more in the next few days. You know, BlizzCon's still going on, so you might hear a little bit more about that. They didn't flat out reveal anybody else, but I think it's pretty obvious that Echo will be one of those characters, and you might see some hints at how she will play in the game, considering her movement and flying abilities was in the cinematic, but yeah, we don't really know how many characters will be in Overwatch 2. And that was one of the things that a lot of people seem to be confused by, which is what's happening with Overwatch 1. And really, this just seems like Overwatch 2 is kind of a rebranding and an expansion. When Jeff Kaplan explained it on stage, he had this weird wording where he's saying it's a full-on sequel and how they want to change how sequels are viewed, and that all of Overwatch will be transferred over to Overwatch 2, including all of the rewards and skins you've unlocked over the years. But in all honesty, it's just a rebranding and an expansion. I don't see how we can word this any different way, no matter what they want to call it. Now, they did say they have several new maps and a new game mode by the name of Rush, which is some push and pull game mode, but what's so cool about it is that it's a new core mode. And what that means is it will be played in competitive, quick play, and in the Overwatch League, so it's not like some arcade game mode where it's just kind of tacked on. So it'll be a nice change up from what we're already used to. Now, one last thing about Overwatch 2 is that it is taking on a new graphical art style, and this time around it looks like it's going to be a little bit more serious. It's kind of realistic looking as opposed to the Pixar cartoony art style that we're used to. It just looks a little bit shinier, and each character's been redesigned, and honestly, and maybe this is just me, but I kind of like the old art style more. Maybe I just need to get used to it. I'm not really sure yet. I'll hold off on my opinion for now. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below, and maybe this is just me, like I said, but I'm curious what other people think about the new art style as well. Now, moving on, Diablo IV was also announced, and wow, it looks dark and it looks ominous. The cinematic for this game was just excellent at setting the mood for this game. As soon as it ended, I sent a message over to my friend saying, wow, that was dark. And then immediately after, the director comes on stage saying how they're returning to the dark roots of the franchise. Well, it was conveyed very well, and that also translates to the art style. I think Diablo 3 was a little bit more bright and colorful, but Diablo 4 looks gritty and gory, and actually hearing some of the gameplay impressions of it at BlizzCon, that's exactly what it is, and people already are reporting of just how gory it is. Now, this is actually all a very good thing in my opinion. For starters, I think Diablo 3 was a bit mixed with the general public, and I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't big on it either, so I think the older Diablo games were a little bit more, they're kind of remembered just a little bit more fondly. Diablo 4 does have 3 characters which you can play, which are the Druid, where you can shapeshift, and you can see in the trailer how you can turn into a bear, the Sorceress, which is more of a magic-based character, and then you have the Barbarian, which looks to be a close-range bruiser. The game itself looks really good, but they made one announcement that I think will please a lot of fans, which is that it has PvP zones, which was oddly absent in Diablo 3 at launch, so this is a big deal. Now, the important thing here is the balancing of the characters. I mean, you have to do this correctly, because you're not going to want to get demolished just because one character is OP. Either way, I'm glad to see them go back to their roots here, and I'm excited to play this one, but Blizzard stated that it will not be coming soon, not even Blizzard soon, so we're probably talking about at least 2 years away before this game is released. So, probably going to be waiting for a while on this one. I'm thinking about 2021, hopefully no later than that. They also announced World of Warcraft Shadowlands, the next WoW expansion, and yet again, they knocked it out of the park with the cinematic. But I have to note something here. I found it a bit interesting that the Lich King, which is supposed to be the super powerful enemy, just gets demolished by Sylvanas like it was absolutely nothing. It just seems to be there to push the narrative, and it didn't really make a lot of sense, but nonetheless, it was still very cool, and I think it was a very well made cinematic. Shadowlands is, of course, about going to a place players have never seen, which is the Shadowlands, a place of death. Now, they have talked a little bit about the features that it has, and here's a few things that sounds pretty interesting, such as all max level players will be squished down to level 50, and there will be a new level system from 1 to 60 that's supposed to make each level up feel more meaningful. The story revolves around a choice and which covenant you will join, so a faction more or less, and of course, several new zones will be explored. Talking with my friend who is a big WoW fan told me as long as they get rid of the systems that they currently have in place, he'd be happy. Now, one last thing that they did talk about was Hearthstone, but I don't really know enough about this game to talk about it extensively, but they did reveal some new cards in their new expansion, Descent of the Dragons, so you might want to go check that out. You can power up some of the new dragon cards, but like I said, I don't know enough about Hearthstone to talk about it extensively. Anyways, though, that's it for this episode, but I hope you all enjoyed BlizzCon this year. I thought it was excellent myself, but let me know what you all thought of it as well, and if you like this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe and bell notification button. Peace out.